Popol Vuh was actually the band of Florian Fricke, and he was not a close friend of mine, but he was a friend already, and he lived outside of Munich in this little village, Miesbach, and I got to know him through Eberhard Schöner, which is was a classical conductor and classical trained musician, which became as well an electronic musician. And their houses in the countryside in this village have been maybe 5 minutes from each other. And it was '69 when I again visited Eberhard Schöner in Miesbach. We very often met there at the weekends. And the bus I took broke down, though I had to walk up this hill. Miesbach is up on a hill, yeah? Beautiful Bavarian landscape. And I heard these strange sounds. So strange. I heard a lot of this experimental music on tapes. Eberhard as well as Florian Fricke with Popol Vuh tried, and he did all this with flutes and acoustically things, but this was different. I never heard a sound like this. I never heard sounds like this. It was like, well, somewhere out of space, from the moon. I couldn't figure out what it was, and it was a bit spooky as well. And I walked toward the house of Florian Fricke, and it became louder and louder, and suddenly, I knocked at the door, and his wife opened, and she said, "Psst, he has a new instrument." I said, "Oh, what is that called?" "Moog." I said, "Moog? It's a synthesizer." And this was in the house of Florian. He had a shack behind the house filled with this Moog synthesizer, because the first Moog synthesizer was this big like a house, yeah? And all these cables and all these strange knobs, and it was standing there. It was like really I saw a sorcerer from Mars or something like that. And he did these sounds with that.
I liked Florian Fricke. I met him he lived near Munich. He had his first Moog synthesizer, this big thing. Oh, he was part of the scene, but away from it as well. At the same time, I think he behaved like this as well. I think he didn't like too much people around himself, and he was a real mystic people.
He was wealthy enough to be able to buy a Moog synthesizer in 1969. I mean, a Moog synthesizer then would have cost a lot of money. And he basically would have come in various modules being sent from America, and he would have to put it together. So the cost of all this, I think it had 64 keys, his one, and he spent a lot of time working on it. Remember that with a Moog, each key has to be tuned. If you want to make a sound, you have to tune each key. It's a very laborious process. There's an awful lot of wiring to be done. I think he's had this Moog synthesizer, and they used it, to get recognition and to get. But remember, the synthesizer was a key to the German scene. They really seized on, driven by Stockhausen and all the other people. They seized on instruments in a way that other cultures didn't seize on them. I mean, in America, you had records coming out like Wendy Carlos and Morton Subotnick, which were driven by commercial. Let's make it literal. It's commercials. You had Wendy Carlos playing Bach on which was an enormous feat to do on an early Moog, a prototype Moog. But the Germans weren't interested in that. I mean, that's boring to them. They want to play German composers, old-fashioned. They wanted to play new sounds, make new music. And this is the difference, I think, between the two cultures.
Elektronische Musik ist eine Musik ohne Tradition. Die Sachen, die da gemacht wurden, waren in den 60ern nur einem sehr kleinen Publikum bekannt. Man denkt so, Stockhausen, das wäre so der Übervater, oder Leute wie Pierre Schaeffer. Es waren Namen, die nur sehr wenige Leute kannten. Oder die frühen Experimente mit Elektronik von Leuten wie Luigi Nono. Das war eine Hochkultur, Avantgarde, Insidergruppe, die das kannte. Für den 16- oder 18-jährigen Jugendlichen lief der Zugang zur elektronischen Musik völlig anders. Die Tradition, die es da gab, war die des Science-Fiction-Films. Ich glaube, in vielen Musikerbiografien von Leuten, wo das Alter dann ungefähr hinhaut, wird man dann Forbidden Planet finden als den Film, der als erster mit einem kompletten elektronischen Soundtrack aufwartete. Es ist eben nicht nur das, dass diese Filmmusiken plötzlich was völlig Neues waren. Dieses Filmgenre erfreute sich ja zu dieser Zeit großer Beliebtheit. Und mehr noch als die Filme, die entsprechende Literatur. Las der junge Arbeiter Science-Fiction-Romane und träumte von einer anderen und hoffentlich besseren Welt. Und der Soundtrack dazu, nachdem man diese Filme gesehen hatte, wie Forbidden Planet, wusste man auch, wie diese Zukunft klingen muss. Der Blick ging in die Zukunft und man wählte sich eine Musik, die klanglich einfach komplett nicht nur aus diesem Land, sondern auch nicht aus dieser Welt ist. Und dazu kam, dass im selben Moment, wo das Bedürfnis dazu da war, auch die technischen Mittel dafür entstanden waren. In den 60ern kamen halt genau diese Mittel der Klanggestaltung, die etwas mit Raum zu tun haben. Nachhall, Echo, also alles, was künstliche Räume kreiert, deren Klang einem sofort sagt, hier sind wir woanders. Und da passte einfach diese Stimmung. Ich glaube, nirgendwo waren die Menschen so reiselustig als junge Leute in Deutschland. Raus hier, wir wollen hier weg.
And it was within this climate of a developing electronic music scene that Kraftwerk appeared. Having been dropped from their label after the failure of the Organization record, Ralf Hutter and Florian Schneider regrouped and renamed their outfit. Literally translated as Power Plant, Kraftwerk were one of the few groups within the scene that had chosen a German name, and it perfectly summed up their aesthetic goals. A major city situated in the heart of Germany's main industrial area, Düsseldorf itself provided a key influence for Hutter and Schneider. Since the war, the area had been developed and renovated, and this progressive modern industrial world would be reflected in Kraftwerk's music. Featuring the twin drumming of Andreas Hohmann and future Neu member Klaus Dinger, Kraftwerk once again called on Conny Plank to record their self-titled debut in August 1970, assisted by engineer Klaus Lohmer.